Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we are talking about the one and only Zbeck network coin. Now, you know me that I'm super high on this coin, right? Called it in the private community around the 10th, literally somewhere down here. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, this thing ran up super, super heavy. At one point, you could have made 4 times your money, right? Insane, insane, insane. Now, I am going to start covering this coin more and more because I do think this is genuinely a great project, right? I really do believe so. Now, I see some people on the internet say, scam this, scam that. I see people call every single coin a scam. I do. Truly, every person calls every coin a scam. They call crypto a scam. They call the whole market a scam. They call life a scam. Everything is just a scam according to people. So you can't listen to people. But what you can listen to is the technical analysis the data is showing. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, the data is showing 4 major pullbacks. Now, I know that might not be ideal to hear, but look, the truth is technical analysis does not lie. Okay, it really, really doesn't. So the reason why I believe we are in for some type of pullback, ladies and gentlemen, is not only did we have the most insane rally, even though Bitcoin has kind of, slowed down this week, but it is just a fundamental process, right? When something goes up super, super heavy, uh, within just a couple of days, practically 10 days, right? We can just say from this point to here, right? And within 10 days, they went up 250%, right? Of course, if you got in where we got in or even slightly cheaper, you would have made more. The reason why, just in terms of pure technical analysis, this pumped in the first place is because we have been consolidating forever. I mean, practically for almost a year, we've been consolidating, right? 9 months or so. And then we can see that in this consolidation, we actually started to break above. We got a pullback to retest, and then the rest is history, right? Even in terms of weekly candle closes, right? We had boom, this candle close above this one, these 2 weeks of retest, and then boom, absolutely nuclear. So look, boom, boom, we're going up. Very, very fantastic. But the data does not lie. Okay, we can see, ladies and gentlemen, that look, we have a top over here, right? We have the tops in terms of the blue, right? We have another one here, and then we have another one here, which is technically lower. So we are creating lower highs. Okay, we are creating lower highs. We can see even if we take away the wicks, let's remove the other drawings, we can see, right? The data does not lie. We have a high over here, right? A high over here, a lower high, and then we even have another lower high. And not only that, but we also have lower lows, right? We had this low over here, boom, taken out by these lows over here, right? Double bottom. But guess what? Because we are trending in a staircase going down, right? Boom, 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 right? We are trending in a staircase going down. The data just says we're going to go down further. Okay. And like I said, we rallied really hard. And I'm not saying this is the end of the coin. I'm not saying this is the end of the coin. In fact, I think this coin is going to do great this cycle, but pullbacks are normal. Pullbacks are also healthy. We can see if we actually go even to the 2 hour time frame, there is a lot of data that says, hey, this is the bigger picture, right? We can see top, lower top, lower top, right? The data does not lie, people. Okay. The data does not lie. I expect these double bottoms to be getting taken out very, very soon. All right, we could go on to the 3 hour. 3 hours is usually a funky time frame. You could even go the hour. The hourly is practically showing you the same type of message, right? So a pullback is inevitable, especially I expect Bitcoin to kind of dump off today and even Monday and Tuesday, right? Monday, Tuesday. Now, where are we going to dump to? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are going to be going at the minimum to this order block. Now, I don't think we're going to get a full-on fundamental retracement all the way up here from the last high. It's not impossible, but just because there's going to be so much global liquidity over the next couple of weeks, I just find it highly unlikely, right? So, right, where do I expect us to pull back? Well, Like I said, at the minimum, this black line, but I actually do think we are going to go further. I do believe we are going to retrace to roughly the 0.0044 area, right? I believe this is where we're going to retrace to, somewhere over here, because actually a good amount of support and resistance. Plus we have the 4-hour order block, right? I know if when I switch to the daily, right, it is also in the middle of the institutional candle, which would line up super perfect because usually these do tap into halfway of the candle. So 0.004 or 45 even is where I would be looking to buy, right? That is where I would be looking to dollar cost average. Now you could have two more zones, but each time it is more unlikely. The next one would be coming back down all the way here to 0.003839. And then the last one for the most fundamental correction in terms of pure support and resistance would be the 0.003. Now, I think there's 100% chance that we are going to go to this one, right? 100% chance. I believe there's probably going to be roughly a 60% chance that we hit this, right? The second one. And I think there's actually going to be like a 10% chance that we hit this. So I overall expect us to come back to overall this range to go back down, consolidate, do what we have to do, and then continue to go up higher. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, right? Just like anything in life, things get exhausted. You run a car for a long time, it eventually runs out of fuel. If you're exercising all the time, you're gonna need to, you know, sleep, eat, rest. It's just normal. Same thing with the markets, right? The markets cannot just be literally pumping, 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 pumping. The only time we ever see that is practically during altcoin season, right? During altcoin season, we see something like this. We see something pump like this, except it pumps for usually 4 weeks, right? And we're only at this second week. So yeah, if this was altcoin season, I would say, guys, minor pullbacks. I expect us to go higher at least for 2 more weeks. But guess what? We're not on altcoin season. Okay. And like I said, I expect Bitcoin to dump away, for the remainder of Sunday and Monday, Tuesday for manipulation, right? For manipulation to then head up higher, right? Also, remember, Zbeck is slightly at a different type of, how do I say this? Like on a different path, right? When everything was kind of selling off, this was going up, right? Boom. Like I said, expect some type of pullback. It is normal. Don't get offended. And yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye. Portfolio reviews, economic and global updates and news, frequent up-to-date technical analysis, and a very supportive community. Sell and buy calls and trading education is provided. If that sounds good to you, now is the time to act. Once the markets start moving, there is no I should have, coulda, woulda. Now is the time. If you want to take things to another level, we have the blueprint that covers everything from A to Z in crypto that you need. No fluff, no bullshit, just the most important news, fundamentals, and technicals to have you succeed in these markets.